So Super Rugby round 18, the Saturday games, 5 games on, and every team, well, every game at least, has something with a team to play for. A few teams are pretty much out of it, but still have a chance to spoil the other teams. Start with the Chiefs and the Brumbies. Technically, both these teams are still alive. The Chiefs are fighting for 4th spot against the Hurricanes, who they've got in round 19. The Brumbies, if they win both of their games, can still technically qualify for the finals, which they've done, I think, every year since 2012. So, yeah, lots to play for them. Waratahs away next week, Chiefs away this week is going to be a pretty tough ask, but at least they're still in it. So there's plenty to fight for. For the Chiefs, Harris is back at 2 after returning from his parental leave. Anton Leonard-Brown is due for his All Blacks rest period, so he is not playing. Wainui moves into 13. Sean Stevenson is on the left wing, and Brad Weber still gets the nod at 9 ahead of Tahuriorangi. For the Brumbies, Alexander is back on the bench, so Mayhew and Alalatoa start in the propping positions. Otherwise, it's a pretty settled team. The likes of Pocock against Kane is going to be interesting, along with Nasarani against Messam. So there's plenty to look forward to in this game. Hopefully the Brumbies guys can step it up, because Hamilton's not an easy place to go to. For the Chiefs, they only need 1 point from their last 2 games to guarantee a final spot. It's just more about where they are going to finish on that table. But like I said, 4th would be ideal, because they then get a home match in those first round of the finals. So we'll see how they go. Hurricanes are fighting for the same thing, but they've got the Blues, so it's kind of a shootout between the two of them. For the Brumbies, like I said, 2 away games. They need 2 wins in a row, preferably some bonus points and other results to go their way. So it's a long shot, but hey, it's better than no shot at all, which is what a lot of the other teams are in that position. So plenty to fight for both teams. The Brumbies are on 3 in a row, which is pretty impressive, but the bookies are not impressed. They are saying the Chiefs by 15. Keep in mind the Brumbies were predicted to be beaten by the Canes by 11 points last week, and the Brumbies managed to nick that one. So when I say nick it, I mean win, because they won it fairly comfortably in the end. So I wouldn't write the Brumbies off, but winning in New Zealand is definitely going to be a pretty hard prospect. The next one, the Blues taking on the Hurricanes. These are 2 teams with opposite records. So the Hurricanes 10 wins, 4 losses. The Blues 4 wins, 10 losses. So 2 seasons on very different directions. When they met back in May, it was 36-15 in Auckland to the Hurricanes. But this time it's interesting, because the Blues are the team coming off the win, and the Hurricanes are coming off 3 losses in a row. So perhaps a slight reversal in fortunes, not enough to change the seasons around, but still in terms of recent form, there's a bit of a shift. For the Canes, Ben Lamb has been dropped, so the top try scorer in Super Rugby can't make the team. Shields is back for his 100th game, which is good after being rested last week. There's Bowden Barrett back as well, which is always a nice attack weapon to have back. So lucky Blues, you get to face Bowden. Jackson Garden-Bishop doesn't make the match day 23. Julian Savia is on the left wing, so Nehi Milner-Scott is on the right wing. Geordie Barrett is back to fullback, which I think a lot of people will be happy with. Hussin moves into 13, which is an interesting choice. But obviously no Proctor, no Arso, so they're trying things out in that midfield combo. Fafita starts in the second row, and Ben May gets a start as well. So there's a fair bit of shifting around in this Hurricanes team, I guess, trying to get back to winning ways. For the Blues, it's a pretty settled team, but Pulu is back this week. He was bracketed in last week but didn't make it. He's definitely in this time. Parsons is also back after his concussion issues, but only on the bench. Rico and Collins continue that 12. Rico Ioane and Michael Collins continue that 12-13 combo, so we'll see how that goes against the Canes. So yeah, the Canes are already guaranteed a playoff spot. They just need to fend off the teams below them is basically where they're at. The Crusaders are pretty much beyond their grasp, but the other teams below them can catch them, so it's about keeping hold of that 4th spot. Yeah, that final game they've got in week 19 away to the Chiefs could really be crucial, so they'll want to put this one in the bag and hope that the Brumbies upset the Chiefs. For the Blues, they've got the Hurricanes and the Crusaders away in their last 2 weeks, so it's a pretty tough end to their season. It's just about fighting for pride and trying to get a win over a New Zealand team. The Aussie teams have done it. There was that big talk of the hoodoo about Aussie teams not being able to beat New Zealand teams, but we've seen that multiple times this season. Blues still not able to get it done. They've got 2 chances, although tough looking fixtures. We'll see how they go. Canes by 12 is how the bookies see this one going. Next one, Waratahs playing the Sunwolves in Sydney. The Tars put 50 points on the Sunwolves the last time they met in week 8, and that was in Japan, but the Sunwolves have improved a fair bit since then. Speaking of improvement though, the Waratahs have got Israel Folau back. He's the only change to their team which beat the Rebels, so keeping it to winning ways and bringing back probably your best player has to look pretty good for the Tars. For the Sunwolves, no surprise that Van den Heever has been dropped after last week's kind of couple of calamitous errors. So Noguchi is at fullback. It's only his 4th game of the season. No Uchida at halfback, which is surprising because he had a really good run last week, but Nagare starts and he captains from that position. The whole back row has changed, so it is Quirk, Leach and Jimeno in the back row, and there's no Willie Brits this week. So it's a much changed team, and I guess fresh legs. We'll see how they go. For the Waratahs, they can really push through to second place if they get 2 wins, and the schedule favours them here because they've got the Sunwolves at home, who are the bottom of the table, and then the Brumbies at home, who next week, if the Chiefs do their business, won't have anything to play for apart from pride. So the Waratahs will be hoping the Chiefs can put the Brumbies out of it, because if the Brumbies are fighting for their life next week, that'll make them a much tougher prospect. But if they're already out, in theory, the Waratahs could get 2 pretty decent wins against 2 teams in the bottom half of the table and steal second spot from the Lions. Steal, earn, whatever word you want to use. So yeah, a win and a bonus point win would be just what the doctor ordered here for the Waratahs. But like I said, the Sunwolves are better than they have been in the first half of the season. So the Waratahs are going to have to give them credit because, yeah, they've really improved. And they're battling to avoid that wooden spoon. The Reds are kind of in that mix as well. So the Sunwolves will want to put some points on and perhaps get out of that bottom spot like they did last season. But the bookies are saying Waratahs by 16. So not looking great for the Sunwolves, but who knows, because they're pretty much the underdog for every game they play. Next one, the Bulls taking on the Jaguares. I believe technically, mathematically, the Bulls can still make the playoffs if they get 2 bonus point wins and other results all go their way. But for all intents and purposes, the Bulls are out of it. It is a kind of a matchup here of a team on a really disappointing run against a team on a really impressive run. So, I mean, the Jaguares are challenging for top spot in the South African Conference and a home finals match, which would save them a heck of a lot of travel. But yeah, they've still got a lot of work to do. The last time they played, it was 54 points to 24 in Argentina, not that long ago in week 14. So it's a chance for the Bulls to kind of rectify things, because that last time they played wasn't a great result for them. Both sides have had to travel, so one would think that would be pretty even. The Bulls are coming back from Singapore, the Jaguares coming back from Argentina, so it's could be a few tired legs in this one. The Bulls are unchanged from that team that lost to the Sunwolves. So I guess Mitchell is saying, you guys stuffed it up last week. See if you can rectify things and show me what you've really got. For the Jaguares, it's also pretty stable, although Moroni is in at 13. It's only his 2nd game of the season, and Alamalo starts ahead of Lavanini in the 2nd row. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same team that beat the Stormers last week. So yeah, the Bulls, I mean, they're trying to avoid last place in South Africa. It's their last game at home, so it's a chance for them to give the fans kind of a happy way to go out of the season. But yeah, it's mostly playing for pride and perhaps a chance to help out the other South African teams. They could help the Sharks by keeping their season alive, and Also helped the Lions by taking points off the Jaguares. So there's that. Although I think they've said that they're not doing anybody any favours. They're just playing for themselves, which is kind of what they have to say. For the Jaguares, though, on the other hand, it is absolutely all to play for. A playoff spot is still not guaranteed for them. They still need to get some points or hope other results go their way. And potentially, like I said, that top spot in the South African Conference, if they can put some points on, they can take that one from the Lions. So we will see. It'd be certainly a pretty interesting playoffs if the Jaguares top the conference, but there's still a long way to go. So Bulls by 1 is what the bookies are saying. The Jaguares haven't won in South Africa yet. They lost their first 2 games in South Africa, but they've beaten plenty of South African teams over in Argentina. So it's got a lot going for it this game. The last one is the Stormers taking on the Sharks. It's the end of the line for the Stormers. This is their last game of the season. They're not going to make the playoffs. It's just similar to the Bulls, a chance to kind of go out with a bang instead of a whimper. So we'll see what happens. The Sharks, again, still fighting for their lives. Similar position to the Brumbies, but slightly ahead. They probably need to win their last 2 games and also hope other results go their way. But, I mean, all they can do is win and see how things go. For the Stormers, Khaleesi is apparently ill, so Peter Steph du Toit is going to be captain, and he's playing at 7. Cobus van Dijk is at 6. JC Janssen, Van Rensburg and Mahoba start in the propping positions, so Wilco Lowe, Stephen Kitsoff are on the bench. Engelbrecht moves from the midfield to the wing, so Yves Viljoen starts at 13. For the Sharks, Mapimpi is out of the squad, but Nkosi is in, so that's kind of good news. The Beast is on the bench, so Schoolman starts, and Vermeulen is in for Jean-Luc Dupria, who's injured. So yeah, the Stormers, I guess they can take a bit of pressure off Robbie Fleck if they get a win here, because the pressure is really mounting on him after a pretty disappointing season. Or, they could very well collapse under this pressure and just absolutely put the spotlight on what he's been doing. Yeah, there's still a chance for them to help their coach out here, so hopefully they're fired up. For the Sharks, they'll kind of know where they stand before their game because they're the last ones to play. So it'll either be a case of here's an opportunity to take somebody who didn't take their chance, or everybody else did their job. We need to stay in the race for 1 more week by getting a win. So either way, they've got to win, but it'll be kind of nice for them to know where they are standing. The Stormers are the favourites by 1 point. They are pretty hard to beat at home, so we'll see how things go. How do you guys see these results going? Any particular games you're looking forward to this round? And yeah, do you think the Blues can finally get a win over a New Zealand team? Not holding my breath. Anyway, guys, I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.